Hello and welcome to Surgery Secrets, where we go behind the scenes to uncover secrets about surgery you won't hear in the classroom. My name's Stephanie, and today I'm sitting down with Reem Al Hinai. Let's get started. So first, we're going to start with some quick fire short answer questions, if that's okay. We'll start with some easy ones. So can you tell us your name
My name is Reem Al Hinai.
and what's your occupation?
I'm a general surgeon and I'm about to start my pediatric surgery fellowship.
Where do you work?
I will very shortly be working at BC Children's Hospital in Vancouver, BC.
And what does your job entail? Or what will it entail?
Yeah, so my job is to take care of children who require surgery for different or a number of reasons, such as trauma or abdominal problems or chest problems. So essentially, children who need surgery. That's a very broad definition of what my job is.
What's your favorite color?
I want to say right now I have two favorite colors, which will be neon yellow and gold. These are my two current favorite colors. They change all the time. So
Very nice and bright.
yeah.
What's your favorite food?
It was also a difficult question because I like a lot of food, but if I wanted to pick one thing, I want to say rotisserie chicken.
A nice medium, nice classic.
Classic. Yeah, exactly.
And who's your favorite superhero?
Wonder Woman.
And your favorite musical artist?
I have to think about that. I would say Queen.
Okay. And your favorite movie?
I want to say my favorite movie that I've watched so many times has to be The Nightmare Before Christmas. That was a difficult decision.
And maybe another difficult decision. What is your favorite organ of the body?
Oh, this actually was easy. I love the gallbladder for some reason. I just think it's a really cute organ. I love doing gallbladder surgeries, and I don't know, I've just loved it throughout residency.
What's the last book you read?
So I read this graphic memoir called Shame Pudding, which is a very cute book written by an artist who just described her self growing up and how she dealt with shame and childhood experiences and loss of loved ones, but through a cartoonish depiction, which was really, really heartwarming and very cute. So that was my last book.
And can you recommend to me a TV show to watch?
Yes, I would highly recommend Schitt's Creek. It's a Canadian show that's very funny and very heartwarming, and I loved every bit of it. So,
Great, thank you. So we've moved past the quick fire round. So now we're going to move on to our more nitty gritty questions. And the first one is, who is your biggest influence, either personally or professionally?
I want to say with regards to my career, my personal influence sort of changed throughout the years. It changed from being certain teachers and mentors when I was in medical school, and then moving on to residency. It was my colleagues. Some of my colleagues were really big influences, and I looked up to a lot of them, and they shaped my career in one way or another. And also mentors that I highly respected during residency training. Specifically, I had great mentors who were pediatric surgeons, and they were a big influence or a big reason why I wanted to pursue pediatric surgery as a career. And so I want to say there's not one specific person, but they're grouped into either mentors or colleagues that inspired me and influenced my career a great deal.
I can only imagine how hectic and busy you would have been as a surgical student. Can you maybe tell us one of your most memorable moments during your training?
Yes. So that moment was actually the first thing that came to mind with this question is I had a time in my training in my first year of residency where I suffered from burnout now that I look retrospectively at it. And it was a very, very tough time of my training where I was very close to just quitting, to be honest. I didn't want to, I didn't see how I can continue doing this anymore. The memorable part was how it changed. And it was because of one person, it was one mentor that I had as a junior resident who sat down with me during a feedback session that we regularly have as trainees. And she made me see how I am capable. She made me see a part of myself in my career as a young, budding surgeon that I myself couldn't see at the time, because when you're burnt out, you tend to have a very tunnel view of what your life looks like and you cannot see a big picture, but she helped me see it. And her feedback to me and the positive feedback and encouragement that she gave me at that specific time was a big turnover shift in my career. And I want to say, like, if it wasn't for her, I don't know if I would have continued and be where I am today. So that was a very memorable moment of my training.
We were talking a lot here at Surgery 101 about physician self care and um, doing things that might work for yourself to help prevent that burnout, to really kind of help med students and residents kind of practice those um, activities and have that mindset early on now. Um, would you say that you've had maybe a similar experience now in your career, or maybe a different, more memorable experience?
During my training, when a patient as a trainee says thank you for your care, or they recognize you, because you've seen them so much and you've cared for them so much, I feel like that's like priceless. And so there's lots of happy memories from my training that come from patients and how they were appreciative of the care that we give as trainees.
I think that I have my own ideas of maybe what surgeons do on a daily basis, but um, I know I don't know everything that in your job entails. What's one thing that people don't understand about your job?
I feel that throughout the years, from having friends who are not, or family members who are not in the medical field or specifically surgeons, the one thing that is hard to explain is the time commitment, the amount of time that you commit towards this career is first one thing, and the other thing is um, sometimes the inability to for sure have solid plans, like your family members, your loved ones, and your friends need to understand to be a little bit flexible, because sometimes our plans change last minute and you just really cannot control it. Like, for example, something can happen to a patient and you, for a surgery that was supposed to be done in an hour takes actually 3 or 4 hours, as for some unforeseen reason. And I think that it's challenging for people around us to understand how much time that it takes us to get to where we are and how much time commitment we need to put into this, but also somewhat how much we sometimes little control we have over our time because we are dedicated to our patient care.
Mhm.
I think that's really the biggest thing sometimes to understand. I feel the second most important thing is, or the second thing that people sometimes don't understand, is that doctors and or surgeons are also humans who make mistakes, but also have human interests. And I feel like also, I mean, thankfully, people put doctors and surgeons on a high pedestal in society and they look up to them. But sometimes we just have to realize that we're humans at the end of the day. We try our best. So
Mhm. What would you say is the best part about your job?
I would say again, the patients. I've learned so much from the patients that had the privilege to encounter throughout my training and who taught me so much about being a surgeon and about being a human. And also, the best part is the camaraderie that you develop with your colleagues when you're all in the trenches together. And there's just a certain level of friendship um, that develops in those kind of circumstances that I haven't experienced in any other kind of life experience, in my opinion.
Mhm.
You get to know each other really well. You spend so much time together, and we understand each other. And so I think that camaraderie that develops throughout training with your colleagues is one of the best parts of training.
I guess on the other side, what would you say is the worst part about your job?
It's the again the how much time sometimes you're okay with giving all your time, but it can be challenging, and especially with that, for me personally, I feel the physical exhaustion and burnout that can result from it if you don't take care of if you don't advocate for your own care, or for taking some rest and breaks in between. Then you might push yourself into burnout, and that was for me the hardest part about this whole journey that I've had to becoming a surgeon.
Mhm. You can't help yourself if you can't help others if you don't help yourself.
That's very true, yes. And we have a lot of work to do in our surgical sphere, if I may say, in terms of promoting each other's wellness, because it's not an individual's responsibility alone to take care of their own wellness and to ensure, whatever it takes for them to feel like they're at their optimal level of performance.
Mhm.
So that's different for every one of us. But it's also the responsibility of workplaces, surgical training programs, and different leaders across healthcare to ensure that the means of promoting optimal wellness for trainees, surgeons, nurses, etc., is available. So they have resources, they have time, and they have the support. And then eventually, and then also the individual responsibility. So.
Mhm. Can you tell us a little bit about your support system and what they mean to you?
Yeah, so I'm lucky to have a small but mighty family. I have a fiance who's very supportive of my training and my well-being, and I'm very thankful to have him in my life. I have two dogs, and I also, honestly, they helped me a lot through residency, I must say. And my sister. So this little family is my biggest support system. They've been with me throughout thick and thin, through the ups and downs of training, and you really need that in when you're going through something really tough and challenging, physically and mentally, like becoming a surgeon. And also, you cannot underestimate the power of friendship. So like I said, because of us being in the trenches together, I've developed solid friendships with some of my colleagues that I'm still in touch with, even after I finished my training, and we're still very, very good friends. And having them with me has been instrumental in me being able to get through this as well.
Mhm. I'm sure you and your colleagues have been involved in many different surgeries and experiences while at work. Can you maybe tell me the weirdest or most embarrassing thing that's happened to you at work?
Yeah, it's a little bit, I'm not sure how gross the other stories of other people have been, but it's personal. It's like personally happened to me, but with time, developed this weird allergy to certain surgical masks. And so some of the masks have a little foam thing on the nose bridge to protect your glasses from fogging up as you're operating. And so I was wearing one of those masks, and I started just becoming itchy throughout the surgery. And it was a long surgery, maybe like 3 hours or so. And then I started, like, getting my nose started getting stuffy, and I was like, okay, well, I will, figure this out once I'm done. And then as we were like ready, almost done with the case, I was just like kind of standing up, and then my very dear colleague, who was one of my junior residents at the time, she'll recognize herself when she listens to this. She looked at me and she was like, "Ew, oh my my God, you have snot on your face, on your neck. And I was all gowned up, like I was in the OR away from the patient. So nothing happened, nothing like, affected the patient or the sterility of the circumstance, but it was just so funny and very embarrassing. And I think that was the most embarrassing thing that happened to me. And then I found out that I've just developed this allergy to the specific mask, so I didn't use it ever again
And
after
that
that.
that was your, I guess, your allergic reaction to
Yes,
whatever. Okay. Oh my goodness.
like yes.
Did you, I guess, when you were in school, did you ever imagine that you'd be living your current life as it is now, I guess?
Um, no, honestly, I didn't. I feel like this is what my life has become is probably better overall, better than I thought it would be. And I never imagined that I would be completing my residency training here and to be a pediatric surgeon. I knew that I wanted to be a surgeon when I was in medical school, but even before, and I was still younger than that, I didn't know that this is going to be my career. So I'm very happy and um, proud of where I am today.
Mhm. I guess alternatively, if you weren't doing your current job, what career do you think you'd be doing?
I think I would be doing something completely different. I've always imagined myself as kind of a nomad, artist, writer, photographer, completely different, nothing related to the sciences. So I think in another life, that's probably what I would be doing. Or maybe when I retire, I don't know.
Do you do any of that, I guess, now current, like on the side when you have time?
Yeah, I've always loved traveling. So I try to, travel and experience lots of, different places as much as I can. I love the outdoors. So I try to be outdoors as much as possible, hiking, going into the trails. I do love photography, so I try to dabble in that a little bit here and there. And I used to write poetry when I was much more when I was younger, in Arabic mostly, and I'm starting to write a little bit in English now. So
Mm. Is there anywhere people can check that out? Is it online or I don't know.
not yet. Maybe soon. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Um, this is our last question. So, if you could give some advice to someone who might be considering your career, um, or becoming a surgeon in general, what advice would you give them?
Um, I want to say be, as sure as you can that this is a career path that you want to go through because it will take a lot out of you. It will take a lot of your time, a lot of your energy, a lot of years. It's absolutely worth it if you really want to do it. But I just want to say that it's not an easy decision to make, and it's probably deserves a bit of thought. Also, as an advice to a young person, and if you even do all the work and get into surgery and decide after some time, because it's really hard to figure, that's a big decision to make, and sometimes, especially for medical students, there's not much time for them to figure out what they really want to do long term with their careers, and so they're pushed into this like tight time zone where they need to figure out what they're going to do for the next 20 years of their life. So that's a lot of pressure. And so, if you do decide to get into surgery and you do all the work and you succeed and you're there and you find out that this is not for you, it is absolutely okay to realize that and have the insight and say, maybe this is not for me. So, give yourself grace. Um, just be brave to realize what works and what doesn't work for you. And just know that everything's going to be okay at the end.
Thank you. We haven't heard that before, which I think is important to not put that pressure to, I guess, continue on one path after all the work that you've done.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely our the culture and society puts a lot of pressure on young people to who are academically driven to achieve certain things by certain time and to know what you want for the next 5 or 10 years, which is good. It's good to have a general idea about what you want, but just remember, you can always say no. You can always quit. You can always change paths, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's very important.
Mhm. And I think it's good advice for everyone in whatever their situation is or whatever their industry or field is as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Al Hinai, for joining us today on Surgery Secrets. It was a pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay. And there you have it. Join us next time for another exclusive look into surgery today. Follow us on LinkedIn for new Surgery Secrets episodes, and check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And for more information about Surgery 101, visit our website, surgery101.org. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.